Welcome guys to the weekly meeting of Social Zebras. We like to call it Zebra Hub. Today I will talk about managing oneself. My name is Sam. And I got the information from this book here, Managing Oneself by Peter F. Drucker. If you want to read it, it's really short, had like 60 pages. Who of you knows Tai Lopez, famous internet guy? Almost all of you, great. He has a top list with the best books he likes about personal development, and this is number 1. So I hope you can get something out of this evening. First of all, you know great achievers in history like Napolen or Da Vinci or Mozart, and what they have in common is they all managed themselves. So if you want to get rich and famous, follow these rules. Quick roadmap, what we talk about today. First, we want to find out what your strengths are. Then we need to know how you perform for yourself. We need to know what are your values, where you belong to, how you can contribute to the world, how you manage relationships, and then you can also plan the second half of your life. So first, what are my strengths? Most people think they know what their strengths are, but a lot of them are wrong. They do something they think they're good, but they would have other strengths. So the key is you can only perform from strength. You can perform from weakness, but if you're weak at something and you try to perform, you're not going really far. So try to find your strength. The best way to find out what your strengths are is feedback analysis. How does this work? 3 steps, quite simple. Whenever you make a key decision in your life, like something that will influence your life in a big amount, write it down, what you're going to do, and write what you expect that will happen. Then after like a year, take that note out again, see what you wrote down, and now you can compare the actual results that you got with the expectation that you had 1 year ago. If they match, if you achieved what you expected, it's a strength that you have, you're good in this decision. And if it's like completely different, the outcome, then it's probably more a weakness than a strength. Then what you do after this is improving your strength. Like you found out, okay, this and this is my strengths. Now it's time to improve them. Important is also to watch your bad habits or your weaknesses, because you should, of course, avoid doing them. It's really hot in here. Oh, it's like 35 degrees, crazy. Anyway, like I said, concentrate on your strengths, improve them. Also watch for manners, normal manners, how to treat people. Make sure you have them on a good level. And cooperation, make sure you work well with the people so you and your surrounding can improve altogether. Second, how do I perform? For some people that may be more important than the strength question, because from performance everything comes. And the big question is, are you a reader or a listener? Quick example from my boss. Like a boss, usually you are either a reader or a listener, and you're not good in the other part. So if your boss is a reader, you should present him your things either by email or by print or something that he can read. If he's a listener, talk to him. If you do what he isn't, he will not pay enough attention and will not get your information. I think you know what I mean. So maybe you have to find out for yourself too. Are you more a listener, you enjoy to listen, or you more prefer to read on yourself? Also about learning. Some people, they learn by writing, some learn by doing, some learn by talking to themselves. There's so much different ways of learning. Find out what's good at you. If you work with somebody, find out what is he good in it. Do you work better in a team? Or do you work better if you work alone, as a loner? Find that out. this? Okay. What are my values? What kind of person do you want to be when you look in the mirror in the morning? Find that out. Also, organizations and companies, they have values. And please find out if you correspond with the values of the organization, with your values, like if they work together or not. Because if you work for a company for a long time that doesn't really support the values you have in your head, you cannot perform on a good level. Values, they should be preferred to strength. For example, if you work as a banker, you are really good in it, it's your strength, but it's not really your value. You don't care about the numbers and all that. You would prefer to work for people. Consider changing your job and enjoy more what you love to do. Where do I belong? Basically, this question can be answered with the summary of the answers from the questions before. Some people are given by the age of 5, like this guy is a mathematician, this guy is a cook. Some people are defined when they are teenagers, like physicians. They find out maybe in the teens that they work well with physics. But most people, especially the very gifted people, they don't find out what they really are or what they're good at until like the late 20s. So always consider what you prefer, like if you work in big and small organizations, find out what you prefer. Do you love to work in a big organizations, as a little fish? If you perform well with that, do that. If you need a small organization but you want to be big, search small organizations. Most successful careers are not planned. They develop from opportunities that face us every day. And when you know your strengths, your values, and your working method, you will attract these opportunities and you can catch them. Also important, where do I not belong? Always ask both questions. Where do I belong? Where do I not belong? And if you say you do something, like, for example, your boss comes and asks you, hey, can you do this? Try to do it your way. Of course, sometimes you have like regulations, but always try to do the way that works best for your way of performance. What should I contribute? Most people don't ask this question to themselves. Often it's also given, like from the work, from the boss, from the parents. You have some kind of direction you are going. But ask yourself these questions. 3 questions you can ask yourself. First, what does the situation require? Like, what is there to contribute for? And then, given your strengths, way of performance, and your values, ask how can I give the greatest contribution to reach this goal? And last, what results have to be achieved to make a difference? Like make a list, what key points do I have to do to make something better? As a start, you can make a plan for the next 18 months. And if you have set these questions, from this question will all come a course of action, what to do, where to do it, how to start. That will all be figured out. Set the goal that is hard to achieve, but within reach, of course. It should be a challenge, but possible. It should be meaningful, visible, and if best would be if it's also measurable. Responsibility for relationships. Most people work better when they work together in a team. Be aware that all the peoples are individuals, such as yourself. So try to understand each people's viewpoint and put your mind in their viewpoint. Also take responsibility for communication. Always have an open and a good communication to the people you work with. Use people's strength. Ask people directly, like, hey, what is your strength? Or how do you perform best? And this way you can find quicker solution how to work together. Actually, if you ask this question, somebody, you can still ask now, people who work with for a long time, your boss, your coworker, ask them, what is your strength? What is your value? And most people will reply with the honest answer, and then, wow, this is great value. Why didn't you ask me this earlier? And then you can also say how you perform best. And this can help the other person to work better together. Then the second half of your life, around 45 years old, you will mostly reach the peak of your career. And then some people turn into burnout. Some people go crazy and good. Yeah, but it can come to a point where you do your job for 10, 20 years, you always do the same thing, and you maybe get bored and need some new fuel for your life. So think about it early. There are 3 ways to develop a second career. They're quite obvious. If you work in an organization for 10 years and you build everything up, you do everything on autopilot, maybe think about changing organizations and do the same or similar thing in another organizations, and you can use your strengths, but build up like everything again and have new inspiration with that. The second option is develop a parallel career, something different. Maybe you work with computers all your life, and then you find out you actually love to help people. You work maybe for a non-profit organization. Find out what you love to do. And the third option is entrepreneurship. You can build up your own company and earn money that way. And yeah, you have to ask yourself a question: do you want to work until you retire and like count down, oh, so many years left or so many days? Or do you want to say like, oh, I have this job, I love it, I want to do as long as I'm able this kind of job? Don't wait too long, begin early to think about how you shape your life and make a plan. That actually is already the end of my presentation. I hope it wasn't too quick, and I hope you got some insights on how to manage yourself. If you have questions, we will now discuss in the discussion round. Thank you.